Welcome to the ultimate showcase of replacing Bunny. Bunny has finally been power crept by Ajax. Yes, you heard it right guys, Ajax, I am not coping, is better than Bunny if you are living under a rock. Just having some fun guys, you know how it is, Bunny's the best, so if you want to click off the video now and go watch my Bunny build, I'll totally understand. But if you are, yeah, for the jumping jacks, Ajax, he is really fun. We can actually get a pretty decent AoE on him as well as just being pretty tanky. We have like a way to regenerate our shield, so shield is not completely useless. We're tanky, we're defensing, just fun build overall. You can jump around the map and just spam your void explosions, and you can put up shields to res those bunnies that inevitably end up dying because they run into a rock like Ajax and then they fall over, or the wind blows too hard, or maybe a mob looks at them funny. You get the point. So enough with the memes, let's just hop straight in this Ajax build we have been working on for the past couple of days, as you guys did request it over on the YouTube when I did a poll. Here it is, the jumping jacks Ajax build. Now first of all, let's have a look at the mod setup. Now there is two different Transcendence mods. You can either use Void Charge or Void Explosion. Keep in mind that Void Explosion does do the most amount of damage, and Void Explosion will give you 2 stacks on this. Void Charge will give you 2 stacks on that, but it'll also change the damage type, I believe, over to Dimension. So have a look there. This one is Dimension, this one is Tech. Now this does tie in really good with the Secret Garden, the weapon we are actually using on Ajax. But the reason I actually prefer just going with Void Explosions because they are both tech abilities. And you guys know the buff on the Secret Garden is going to give you increased damage that stacks up pest control when you use tech skills. That has a 50% trigger rate. And if we're spamming both of these the whole time, we can pretty much maintain that all the time. Whereas if we are spamming this one, because we'll have 2 charges on there and only 1 charge on there, we won't be able to permanently keep up that buff. We can basically keep the buff up, but just be a little bit harder and more RNG. So that's why we prefer to go with Void Explosion. Plus this just does the most damage, as the skill power modifier on that is 1000%, and then the jump is only 500. So it's basically half of that. This is going to be your main damage. If you can spam this more often, then I think this is the way to go. However, it's completely up to you. Also, one little side note about the Void Explosion and Charge is this will actually remove a little bit of defense from the build. As if we have a look at Void Walk, we see the Enhanced Leap. The shield, it increases your shield and also gives you continuous shield recovery. So whenever you do the charged up leap, it's going to start regenerating your shield. Now that's not really going to give you a whole lot of shield, but the fact that it starts to recharge your shield is giving you a way of getting shield back. And even if you have like a little bit of shield, the damage hit that hits you is still going to go to your shield first before it actually hits your HP. So that's why it's nice to have this charging up every now and then. It's also going to increase the shield amount. So you'll get, I think, about like 1,500 is what my shield goes up to when we use an Enhanced Leap. But then if we use the Void Charge, it actually removes that shield recovery portion completely away from the skill. So you just get more damage. And then also it will remove the MP cost. So this build you can spam a little bit more, but you can't spam your Void Explosion as much. It is a 10-second cooldown, so quite a bit longer as well. The MP cost, if we go have a look back there, this is costing MP, and this is costing MP as well. But the way we have it set up, we can manage our MP just fine by running around and exploding and killing stuff all over the place. So now let's have a look at the rest of our mods. We're going to start out with our cooldown. We're running MP conversion and nimble fingers because we need to get as much cooldown as we can to get this all the way down to a 2.6 second cooldown, and then our jump is at a 5.1 second cooldown. Now if you do the jump on the enhanced version, I believe it like resets it, or it seems it does. So whenever you use your 3 bubbles on the enhanced leap, it's going to give you that shield regen, and it's also going to reset it. So you can do the enhanced leap and then go back to building it up. So 2 of these and then another jump, and then you'll get an enhanced leap on the next one. So kind of just go back and forth between these 2 the whole time. It's really fun the way we have it set up. And then we have more cooldown with focus on attribute and focus on tech as well. We try to get as much damage as we can, but also as much cooldown as we can. So you could actually replace these with the specialist version if it is just pure damage you want, but then you will lose out on 12.2% of cooldown. If you have a look at nimble fingers, that's basically half of nimble fingers that you will be throwing away, whereas you'll just be gaining a little bit of damage. You see there's a non-attribute skill power 81, and this is the non-attribute skill power 77. So you only gain a small amount of damage, but you will lose out on utility, so having more cooldown overall. That's why I prefer to just go this way. And then focus on tech also ties in well with our choice of Void Explosion, because by using Void Explosion, it changes your Void Explosion into tech from Dimension, and your jump is also a tech skill, so both of them can dip into the modifier from the tech. Whereas if we use the Void Charge, I believe the jump is tech, and then the punch is actually Dimension. So you won't be able to get both of the damage mods on all of the skills. You can only get one and then maybe the other, so you could like split up the damage. Whereas with this setup, we have both of these buffing both of our damaging abilities. And then we come over to skill expansion and maximize range just to cap out our range. And then just keep in mind the void explosion will gain an increased range when you use it on the enhanced version. The leap is always 17.2 meters, but the void explosion will go to 17.2 meters when it is on the enhanced version. The normal version is only 11.5 meters, but you'll pretty much be spamming these all the time. So you'll get the shield regen from enhancing the jump sometimes, and then you'll get the increased range from enhancing this one as well. There's also a little bit of increased damage when it is enhanced, so just keep that in mind. And then we move over to our resource. We have this for skill cost reduction, as if you don't have this it feels really bad because you can run out of MP really fast by spamming these abilities as much as we do. And then we have MP collector just to help out while we are doing a lot of mobbing, because obviously the more mobs you kill, the more chance at proccing this, and it's going to restore your MP and keep you nice and topped off. And then last but not least, we have some defense. We have spear and shield there for a little bit of defense as well as skill power. The damage boost from that is very small, so you could run a flat defense mod if you wanted a little bit more defense. But with our current setup, we're at almost 40k defense and 11,000 HP, so more than enough. And then a little bit of skill power is just going to boost your damage a little bit more, so why not if you can squeeze out a little bit more damage. And then we also have increased HP. And the reason we don't run any of the purple HP mods is because Stim Accelerant has a negative MP, and we already have negative MP from there. So by running this, it just feels bad having 30% negative MP, especially because of how spamming the build is. And then HP amp only gives you a tiny little bit more than increased HP, as well it has a max shield reduction. And like I said before, by using enhanced void walk, you will actually increase your shield and start regenning it. Your shield is a little bit more valuable to you. I mean, it's not the greatest, but it is a little bit more valuable, so you can go ahead and use that. And then lastly, the sub module is dealer's choice. You can use whatever you want. I just like mid-air maneuvering and long distance are my favorite too. But put in there whatever you want to use. Just make sure you do level it up because it does give you increased capacity. And as you can see, this build, the way we have it set up, fits in perfectly. Also, depending on your mastery rank, you might have to actually put a catalyst on your module over there. By putting a catalyst on this, you will gain 5 extra capacity, so just keep that in mind if you are a little bit short on capacity. I wouldn't suggest putting a cata on this one over here because maybe you want to change to one of these different Transcendence modules later, and they don't all share the same socket. As well, you won't gain as much from that. By putting a catalyst on this, you'll only gain 2 points because it will reduce it by half, whereas putting a cata down there will give you 5 points actually on the total of your mod capacity. Now let's move over to his weapon. The Secret Garden is actually really good for him, but you want to try and level this up as much as you can. I still need to go max mine out. I'm missing one more on it. If you have the base version, that's actually going to have a negative skill cost. So we see their skill cost is 5%. That means it increase. If this is not leveled up at all, it's going to be a 20% skill cost increase. So that's actually going to hit you pretty hard. That's why I would suggest trying to max it out as fast as you can. I need to still go get that last one. That's going to increase the trigger rate up to 50%. I believe, I don't think the damage changes, but it does go up to a 50% trigger rate. So definitely want to pick yourself up a Secret Garden and then max it out as fast as you can, because that skill cost is going to hurt quite a bit. But this thing just does a crazy amount of damage. As you guys can see in the background, when we have the pest controls stacked up and we have our bubble down with the enhanced version, just make sure when you are getting to like bosses, you place your big bubble down when you actually have an enhanced version, because it will increase your firearm attack, I believe, by like 10%. So that's a nice little buff when you get to the boss, as well as maintaining your pest control, which you can easily do by just spamming your AoE to kill the mobs around you while you are targeting a boss, and then just put up your little shield inside your bubble. Because of how big our range is, most of the time the boss is going to be inside your bubble, so he's going to still be able to shoot you. That's why I suggest dropping your enhanced bubble, then dropping your shield, and then spamming your AoE when there is some mobs around you, just to maintain that pest control. But as you guys can see, we can pretty much one clip the boss in the background when we have the pest control as well as the firearm attack. And I believe the bubble lasts about 25 seconds. And by doing the void explosions to maintain your pest control as well as killing the ads, you'll actually build up your enhanced stacks really fast. So you can go ahead and place down another bubble. You can pretty much have your bubble up the whole fight and kill the mobs quite comfortably while you are just sitting there peppering away at the boss with the Secret Garden. Now let me show you guys the Secret Garden build. I'm still working on this a little bit. I think we might actually end up dropping weak point and electric enhancement, but for now we're going to run both of the firearm attack modules. We are going to run better concentration because this thing has a crazy amount of crit hit chance. And then we run sweeping squad because this is going to always be up because of you spamming your explosion skill. It's going to kill mobs around you, and that will affect sweeping squad. So you don't have to get kills with a weapon to actually proc this. So this should be up 99% of the time. And then we have concentration priority just for increased critical hit damage. As you can see, our crit hit damage is really high and the crit chance as well. And then fire rate up, that's a given on pretty much every weapon build. We have expand weapon charge for an increased magazine. I believe this puts us at around 71 bullets, so that's quite a bit. Now you could drop out weak point sight. This is only going to really help you when you get to like the bosses and elites, which is the only time I use the Secret Garden anyway. And then the last slot of, yeah, you could really put whatever you want. We just just haven't catalyzed it yet. So maybe we go ahead and put like a reload focus or a reload insert for that increased critical hit damage or critical hit chance. We'll probably go with that reload focus maybe, just to make the reload a little bit faster. But you can also animation cancel the reload by spamming your AoE explosions. So you could maybe then just run something like concentrate support ammo, just give you a little bit more crit damage as well as more rounds in the magazine. Like I said, completely up to you what you want to run there. We just slapped on electric for now because that's all we could fit, as well as electric having an innate defense strip. So this will start stripping away the defense of the bosses where you are shooting at. So that's why I actually do like the electric element. This won't add anything to the DPS, so it's going to look like our DPS is pretty low, but don't believe all the tooltips, guys. The DPS over there doesn't reflect the damage in game. You guys saw before, we absolutely melted that boss, one clipped and no problems at all. Now let's move over to the reactor and the components. As you guys can see, our reactor is very bad as we're not really gaining much from this. The Colossus, we're literally, that's a dead line to us. The skill critical hit damage, we don't have much crit rate. So this is pretty dead to us. It's the only reactor I had for Secret Garden that was non-attribute tech, and this week unfortunately there is no special rounds ones dropping. But the roles that I would go hunt for next week would be increased range as well as tech damage boost or non-attribute damage boost, whichever one comes first. But those are the three different roles I would focus on, just getting as much increased damage as we can, as well as a little bit of utility by increasing our range a bit. Now let's have a look at our component set. Now the best damage set would be to run the Slayer set. So if you want to just go for as much damage as you can, get the Slayer set. The defensive stats of it's not going to be the greatest, and then the 15% skill cost is also going to hit you a little bit there on the side, but overall you could run this for increased damage. You will lose out on defense as well as your skills costing more. But if you want the ultimate amount of damage, I could go ahead and suggest to just run the full Slayer set. Just make sure you do get maximum MP, MP recovery, and then you have MP recovery out of combat on there. And then on your memory, you want MP recovery modifier. And then going back to what we're actually running, we're running these components here as these are the best stats we could find. So we got defense over there, MP HP. And then on the sensor, we have defense with MP MP. Now it's very important to get as much max MP and MP recovery as you can. And then for our memory, we have max HP, defense, and MP modifier again. And then lastly, on our processor, we have HP, max shield, and shield recovery, as there's not really much else you can get there that is going to be good for you overall. But we're not actually caring too much about any of the set bonuses. That skill duration over there on the Annihilation is not going to really do anything to you. But like I said before, if you want the most amount of damage, then go ahead and use the full Slayer set. Just make sure you get max MP and MP recovery over there, and then MP recovery modifier on the memory. So that's going to be it for the video, guys. I hope you liked it. If you did, please drop a like and a sub to the channel. Helps me out so much, and go out there and live your jumping jacks Ajax dreams. Also chuck down below in the comments if you guys have any suggestions on changing up the build, making it better, or even if you have questions, I can try and help you guys out as much as I can. Join the Discord server if you guys are looking for people to play with and just talk about TFT and games in general. Also, lastly, drop by the streams over at twitch.tv/Augiesaint. I'd love to see you guys there. We're streaming 6 days a week and we're having a great time with chat there, just helping out and figuring out stuff together and building stuff, and you know, just the good old not living under a rock playing bunny things happening in chat. Yes, I'll see you guys in the stream as well as the next video. Augiesaint out.
Run free and dive into the sky. Hear the wind.